How do you define a rivalry? In the most intense of competitions, the rivalry defines you. A series steeped in tradition and rich with emotion. Those legends who have played in this passionate rivalry are forever remembered for their performance in the game. From the heated battles of Woody and Bo to the epic struggles of Cooper and Carr, coaches also carved their legacy in this game. Jim Tressel looks for a fifth straight win over the Blue today. For Rich Rodriguez, he hopes for an upset in his first game on the sideline of the greatest rivalry in all of sport. The Ohio State Buckeyes are 9-2 and defeated only once so far this year in Big Ten play. They've never won 5 straight against the Maize and Blue. As Jim Tressel leads them out, ESPN's presentation of college football on ABC is presented by Best Buy. Behind that group will be 27 seniors who will take the field at Ohio Stadium for the very first time today, for the very last time today. ESPN's presentation of college football is presented by Best Buy. Our matchup this afternoon, the Michigan Wolverines coming in to take on the 10th ranked Buckeyes of Ohio State. And welcome to Columbus, everybody, on a cold, dreary day. We're ready for a pretty good football game. If you think it doesn't mean much to both these teams, look at what happened about 25 minutes ago before the teams went to the locker room for the final time. A little bit of a rumble broke out. That was earlier. Now we're just about set for the game itself. Ohio State's got an opportunity still to go to the Rose Bowl if they win today and if they get help from Michigan State against Penn State later on this afternoon. As I bring in my ringside boxing analyst, Bob Greasy. Grease, you've been in these kind of things before. Rivalry games are something special.
And you never forget them, and they are special. It's not the records, but the emotions that count in this ball game. The players play for themselves, obviously, and for their families, but more than that, for all the alumni, and in this case, for the entire state.
Well, you know, Michigan, I'm sure the kids have heard all week at 3-8 that they have no chance to win this football game, do they?
For Michigan to win, it's big plays and takeaways. Offensively, they're not strong enough to march the ball down the field. They need big plays. Defensively, they've got to take the ball away from the Ohio State, and special teams, they got to win that to get good field position so their offense doesn't have to go the whole way.
Well, speaking of the Wolverines, Stacey Dales is down where the team's about ready to come out.
Well, Brad, I'm here with the team. I was 100 feet up the tunnel with this Michigan group. Their coaches just told them to hold up. That's how eager they are to get on this field. They were supposed to wait a couple more minutes before they got out here, but I'm standing in the end zone with these players, and I talked to them this week. Defensive coordinator Scott Schaefer said, we're ready to go. You can throw all the records and goal implications out the window. We come to play this game every year, and their senior cornerback, starter, Morgan Trent told me the reason I came to this university is to play in this game. Brad, they're ready to go.
The Michigan Wolverines and the Ohio State Buckeyes coming up for the 105th time. Our kickoff soon, but right now we go to Times Square studio and John Saunders. John?
Brad, thanks a lot. College football making some strange bedfellows on this day. Michigan State will actually be pulling for Michigan, and Texas will actually be pulling for Oklahoma later tonight. It's part of a very long day of college football here on ABC at 3:30 after Ohio State, Michigan. Penn State wins that game, they win the Big Ten. Michigan State wins it and gets some help. They got a shot to win it as well. Boston College, their own destiny in their own hands. And then tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern time, the big one. Texas Tech against Oklahoma. Texas Tech, if they win, they're going to the Big 12 championship game. If Oklahoma wins, we would have a 3-way tie with Texas. You'd have to go to the BCS poll, and the highest team would then go on to face Missouri in the Big 12 championship game. It's all coming up here today on ABC, but we begin things with one of the greatest rivalries in all of sport. Michigan and Ohio State, the Buckeyes looking to win 5 straight for the first time ever.
I'm yours.
This is ESPN Rivalry Week, presented by Samsung Mobile.
We get set for Ohio State and Michigan. Before we do, it's a great day for pneumonia. Let's go to Paul McGuire.
Hey, Brad, it's not so bad. You know, I've done a game here from the scoreboard and also from the press box and from the stands. And so today, I thought, well, I'd get on the cart with a little espresso and watch the game. But I didn't realize the intensity in this ball game. You saw it at the beginning with Michigan going right face-to-face with Ohio State. I'm telling you, before this game started, when these guys were warming up, they weren't even talking to each other, not even patting each other on the back. They didn't say a word until they saw Ohio State. This is going to be a heck of a football game. You want to talk about hitting? You're about to see it.
All right, stay warm, Paul. Jim Tressel trying for 5 straight. His team won the toss. They will receive. That's not something we normally see anymore. James Laurinaitis, one of 27 seniors, playing his final game at the Horseshoe today. Rich Rodriguez, first time he's been here since a JV game when he played for West Virginia back in the day. It's going to be a little different feeling this afternoon. Lamar Thomas is decked at about the 22-yard line. 19-yard return, and that's where Ohio State will go to work offensively. Let's take a look at our impact players brought to you by Best Buy. We mentioned James Laurinaitis, one of the greats to ever play here. Sidekick right next to him, Marcus Freeman. And in the back end, the leader, Malcolm Jenkins. He can block punts. He can steal passes. First time I think we've ever had 3 impact players all on defense, but that's what those guys are. First down, Terrell Pryor and company set up at the 22-yard line. Beanie Wells behind him. Fakes the handoff to Beanie, and he'll keep it himself. Pryor with that stiff arm, that patented stiff arm for a freshman, got it out a pickup of about 3. Stevie Brown made the stop. And he is our city X factor, Terrell Pryor. Bob, it's the first time a guy has pretty much played the entire season as a true freshman since Art Schleister back in the late 70s.
And the thing that Michigan wants to do is not let him get outside the pocket, which is pretty much impossible to stop him from doing. He is 6'6", Brad. You mentioned that stiff arm. That's the first guy I've seen in a long time that brought him down on the perimeter one-on-one.
He got 3, second down and 7. The tight end nickel in motion now. It's Wells, and he's hit for a loss. That'll fire up the Michigan defense. Will Johnson, one of their captains, makes the stop. Our key matchup today, you know, Beanie Wells is always going to be involved when there's keys to a ball game. He averages 120 a game, missed 3 with that foot injury. Michigan's defense allows about 128 a game. That time they dropped him for a loss. So it brings up our first third down, 3rd and a long 7. 3rd in the Big Ten. Ohio State in their third down efficiency, and Pryor will work from the shotgun with 3 wide receivers. Looking down the middle, waiting and firing late, but he got it there complete. It's a first down throw out to the 38-yard line. Dan Satzenbacher, pick up a 13.
Michigan went to a 3-man line and doesn't get much of a pass rush. And Pryor has all kinds of time. Look at the big hole. Steps up, and he's got great vision and just waits for Satzenbacher to run the curl. First down.
You know, there was actually perfect coverage on that play, and that was just an excellent play by Satzenbacher.
He went up and got it at the 39-yard line. Rubisky in motion on first down. And Pryor rolling left, throwing that way, and it's intercepted, picked off. Stevie Brown down the sideline.
Well, that's what I said, Brad, in the opening. Big plays and takeaways, and that's what Michigan defensively needed.
What a huge way for that small group up there in the left end zone to get a cheer out of Stevie Brown with the interception.
He just goes to roll to the right, and he just underthrows the ball. He had somebody right in his face and probably never saw the defensive back Brown.
Grace, that was Brandon Graham, who just came up the field and just threw the tackle right at Pryor.
So Michigan's got a great opportunity on the road to strike first. First down at the Ohio State 13-yard line. Tough sledding, a yard or two, and now we've got a little altercation going on. No penalty markers down. Malcolm Jenkins, remember, you saw him in the middle of that pile when there was the rumble 25 minutes before the game, and he comes out swinging on Greg Matthews. It's getting chippy early. And I think he just got warned. One more of those and you'll be saying goodbye.
That's exactly right, because this Big Ten crew of officials knows that this is a rivalry game. They know the emotions are high.
Nick Sheridan again in the gun on second down. Here comes a blitz off the corner. He'll run it up the middle, and he's going to be stuffed. A loss of 2. Nader Abdallah made the stop for Ohio State.
This is a critical series for Michigan, Brad. As you mentioned, if they get in and get a touchdown here, this could go a long way. The momentum of this ball game and the confidence for Michigan.
Brandon Miner and Carlos Brown with Sheridan in the shotgun. 3rd down and 10. They can get a first down inside the 3. Crowd deafening for this Ohio State defense. And a flag down. Mark Ortman, the left tackle, jumped early. This is going to make it really tough on him.
Part of the snap. False start. 71. 5 yards. 3rd down.
Now what you don't want to do is take any kind of loss, because it's not a chip shot field goal here either.
You know, another thing, Brad, is you can't allow these offensive linemen to just sit there for a long period of time. You've got to get the play, get up, and get going.
Let's see if they can get going as they're backed up now to the 18-yard line. Sheridan asking for the ball. Throws. Left side, nobody home. Laurinaitis with a big hit after the throw.
Well, Michigan's not going to beat Ohio State by throwing on 3rd and 13, 14 yards. Here comes Laurinaitis from the outside.
Oh.
It's a free shot.
And he took it.
I'd say. Casey Lapata will try a 35-yard field goal. As I said, no chip shot here on a cold day. Kick on the way, and it's no good. Michigan blew an opportunity to score first. Whoa, it's heating up the first 5 minutes of the ball game at the shoe. ESPN's presentation of college football on ABC, presented in high definition. From the Horseshoe, sold out. And I'm telling you, there's not much maize and blue in this building right now. And Ohio State had a turnover that didn't cost them points. Michigan's defense fired up on Beanie Wells. Tim Jamison with a hit and a loss on the play again. Big Ten standings coming in like this. Penn State and Michigan State play in a game most of you will see on ABC following ours. If Penn State wins, they're going to the Rose Bowl. If Michigan State beats Penn State and Ohio State wins this one, they're going to Pasadena.
Ohio State's going, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Michigan State, of course, lost to Ohio State, a game we brought you earlier this year, and that's the reason that they would get the nod over Michigan State should the Spartans win later today. Loss of a yard, 2nd down and 11. And a whistle stops play, and I think Michigan took a timeout. They might have had either not enough on the field or...
Yeah, Thompson went over just yelling at some of the coaches over there on the sideline.
Grace, one of the things that's happened, they're not getting the signals in. They're not getting them on offense fast enough, and they're not getting them on defense.
Well, the reason they were holding off, Paul, is because Ohio State offensively substituted real late, and Michigan wanted to match whatever Ohio State was going to do with what they wanted to do defensively.
John Thompson's a senior. Terrence Taylor, a senior. Will Johnson, a senior. They're all in that huddle over there, and what you really don't want to do on national television is go over and start barking at your coaches. And it's getting chippy even on your own sideline right now. That was Charles Stewart who was doing all the yakking on the sideline.
Well, the defense has done their part. Ohio State has had one series and they picked off a pass, set up the offense on the 13-yard line, which they couldn't get it in.
Pryor, here comes a blitz. He's trying to get away from it, giving ground and throwing it away. Did a nice job. Again, the stiff arm out there, or he'd have been dropped way back at the 4-yard line. So Pryor running for his life. And as Bob said, Michigan's doing their job.
Well, Michigan, like we said, big plays and takeaways. And for Ohio State, they are the better team. They are at home. They need just to be dominant. Go out and play their game, and they can beat Michigan. But not if they give the ball away like they did on their first possession.
They find themselves in another long yardage situation as well. 3rd down and 11. Wells and Sane there with Pryor, who took a low snap from center. Deep out. Got to the sideline, and Ohio State's got a punt.
Yeah, they've got Pryor rattled a little bit.
Yep.
Interception on his first possession. And now he doesn't get anything done on his second. And they're got him rattled a little bit.
Well, Grace, what they're doing is they're coming right up the middle at him. They are not allowing him to set in the pocket at all. So now he has to throw the ball way before he wants to.
And it puts A.J. Trapasso back inside his own 5-yard line. Martavius Odoms is back deep. High wobbly kick. Odoms with a fair catch and diving for it and dropped it. Ohio State's got it. Marcus Freeman, one of our impact players. I didn't think you could have this much action in 5 minutes without a score.
That's good. You know, Ness, I'll tell you what, that ball, the wind got the ball and dropped it straight down. He really had no chance of catching the football. Well, get out of the way. Get away from it.
This kid Odoms is one of 30 either freshmen, he's a freshman, a true freshman, or walk-ons that is on this travel roster here today for Michigan.
Marcus Freeman, he and Laurinaitis inseparable, and they play special teams. Michigan's turnover margin's getting worse. Ohio State 1st down at its own 49. End around, possibly. No, Pryor keeps it. And Michigan again does a nice job. He might have gotten 2, but they stayed home and Brandon Harrison made the tackle.
Hey, Ness, I'll tell you, I'm standing here watching this. It was one of the most beautiful fakes. Pryor just fakes the ball, and Tim Jamison, number 90, the defensive end, just runs right by him. Doesn't even see the ball. It was absolutely perfect.
You could see it developing from up here. The only thing higher than our booth is the Goodyear blimp. And you could see that one coming a mile away from here. There you go. That's an even better shot of it. Thanks, guys. That is the shot.
Well, you guys are just a little bit above that, aren't you?
Yeah, just a little. Right on the midfield stripe, 2nd down and 8. Pryor, the play fake, sets. Gonna go deep. Got a man out there. Just overshot Brian Hartline.
Oh, and he had him too.
Hartline had about 2 steps on Stevie Brown. Of course, Brown's made a big play already today on the interception of Pryor's.
He had a double post route. This man right here is going to go across, and he's trying to hit the inside post man. Just throws it. You see he's got it. If he throws it to the sideline, threw it too far down the field.
Pryor right now 1 for 5 with an interception. 3rd down and 8.
This is Pryor's first rivalry game, huh?
Yep. They're going to blitz. Pryor has time. Pumps twice. Now he's going to go down. The 45-yard line, Brandon Graham with his 10th sack of the year.
I'm going to tell you, so you guys got to look at this. When you take a look at it, look at the number of white shirts that are going to be around Pryor when they hit him. He has really no place to throw the ball. Well, watch these guys on the defense. They don't stop. Now, when it's about time when they hit him, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys.
Well, Paul, that's one area that Michigan is dominant, and that's in the defensive line.
2nd straight 3 and out. Trapasso to punt. Greg Matthews is back for Michigan. More experienced as a return man maybe than Odoms. He holds on to it anyway. He got tattooed pretty well over there at the 25-yard line. And again, they mix it up a little bit. No score in Columbus. ESPN College Football on ABC is brought to you by Best Buy. You happier. Bud Light, the difference is drinkability. Samsung Mobile, to predict the winning teams, text RIVAL to 43776 during rivalry week. And Nissan, when you need it most, Nissan delivers. There's OAR performed last night at the Newport Music Hall as part of the Bud Light concert series. They formed 10 years ago in Maryland. All 5 of those guys went to Ohio State. OAR, we used their music on the 2007 and 2008 College World Series, and they're jamming last night over at Newport Music Hall.
I think half the crew went over there.
I think so.
You went, didn't you?
I was in early.
I think Paul went.
This is a noon kickoff, remember. Sheridan, quick swing pass out to Carlos Brown. Brown broke 1 tackle and got across the 25, out to about the 26-yard line. Let's take a look at our Best Buy impact players for the Michigan Wolverines. Brandon Miner, he's going to have to be big today. Leads the team in touchdowns with 10. Brandon Graham, hey, he already had a sack on the last series. And Ubieze is their leading tackler. Sheridan, play fake. Wide receiver screen. That didn't develop very well. Odoms with the catch. He had Mike Massey, one of the captains, out there, but that ball was really too close to the defender when he threw it out there.
Michigan goes with the no huddle spread option offense. Sheridan looks over for the sign, for the signal, and relays it to the offensive line.
Nick Sheridan, as you see, a coach's kid. His dad with the Giants, facing a 3rd down and 6. Michigan only 30% on their 3rd down conversion, second to last in the Big Ten. They're not going to get this one either. Pass intended for Matthews is a one-hopper, and Michigan will have to punt. Tomorrow, you have never seen an American Music Awards lineup bigger than this, fellas. Don't miss performances by Beyonce, Kanye West, Rihanna, Coldplay, Alicia Keys, and many more. And the winners are all decided by you. Jimmy Kimmel hosts 2008 American Music Awards live tomorrow at 8/7 Central on ABC with a red carpet that is special at 7 o'clock. I believe Bob Greasy's doing the red carpet special.
Yeah, I'll be there.
You'll be there. Here's Mesko with that rugby-style punt and another diving catch of a punt. This one successful by Brian Hartline. Ohio State with great field position on offense when we come back.
The Liberty Mutual Coach of the Year award is given to the college football coach in each division who delivers results while demonstrating sportsmanship, integrity, responsibility, and excellence both on and off the field. Go to coachoftheyear.com and vote for the coach you think deserves to win in 2008.
Seasonings greetings from your mates at Outback. Get a free $20 bonus card when you buy $100 in holiday gift cards.
In just one day, the 2008 American Music Awards, live tomorrow on ABC.
Well, so far this one's been like Dancing with the Stars. 1-2-3 kick. No score with 7:28 to go first quarter. Great starting field position for Ohio State, though, to 46. Beanie Wells. Again, the hole is plugged immediately by John Thompson and Mike Martin. And the rest of that Wolverine defense, they've really played well so far today.
It's the defensive line, Ness, and you're absolutely right. That was number 68, Mike Martin, who is a true freshman that was in the backfield. They're not, the offensive line, they're just not making contact with these defensive linemen. They're moving fast.
Remember, Ohio State not only has a freshman quarterback, they've got a freshman center. Doesn't happen very often that battery are both true freshmen. There's what we've said. Besides the interception, it's been 3 and out.
Not much good there.
2nd down and 9. Wells to midfield, maybe to the 49. Brandon Graham involved in the tackle.
You know, Brad, this offense of Ohio State was supposed to be pretty good this year. Also, they had 9 starters returning from a team that went to the national championship game. They had a quarterback, Todd Beckman, who was the All-Big Ten quarterback last year. Beanie Wells at the beginning of the year was a Heisman Trophy candidate. And now look where they are.
10th in the Big Ten in yardage.
They got a freshman center, a true freshman center, and a true freshman quarterback.
And one's about ready to snap it to the other here in the shotgun. On 3rd down and 5. Pryor blitz from the back. Down he goes again.
Oh, that was Brandon Harrison, number 27. He had a free shot. Yes, I'm sitting here about 30 yards away from watching him come at Pryor never sees him. He doesn't see him at all. Watch.
Take a look right here.
In the back. Here he comes. Look at this. Pryor's looking downfield. He never looks at him.
Never saw it. The defensive back that was covering the slot receiver was in bump, and he had a short way to the quarterback.
Trapasso to punt again, and this one not good at all, and out of bounds at about the 28-yard line. So Brandon Harrison, his 3rd sack of the year and his 50th game for the Wolverines, comes up with a big defensive play. Trapasso upset with himself on that kick. Everybody's mad at everybody. Glad we're all getting along. You know, so who am I for you? In '98, I set the series record for passing yards in a game with 375, but I lost the game. Who do you think I would be?
Yeah.
I would probably think maybe that'd be somebody like, well, I'm not going to guess. We'll tell you after the play. Nick Sheridan would love to pick up some passing yardage and win the game if at all possible. Oh, another big hit. Brandon Miner takes a shot as Gibson is over there in a loss of 2. Well, we asked you who set the record with 375 yards and lost in this rivalry game. I think you might know this guy. Tom Brady in a losing effort back in '98.
Oh, Tommy Brady.
He went on to play pro football, I believe.
He played for somebody. Won a couple championships.
Yeah. Sheridan on the run and incomplete, thrown behind his intended receiver, Odoms. And Sheridan's having a tough day.
I'll tell you what, that's got to be the toughest pass to throw in the world when you see laryngitis breathing down your neck and you know he's going to hit you. He is going to hit you. He's already hit you once in this ball game, and now he's going to try to lay you out again. It's unbelievable.
Laurinaitis playing in his final game here, and talking with him yesterday, the intensity and seeing him out there on the field today, you just get that feeling he's in for about a 20-tackle game.
That's not good. Average gain less than 1 yard.
Sheridan plenty of time and ran out of it in a hurry. Dexter Larimore with a sack, and Michigan will have to kick. Well, if you like defense, you're loving this first 11 minutes.
Larimore, one of the 3 defensive linemen, only 3 rushing the passer, just beats the tackle, sack, defense wins again.
5 straight 3-and-outs overall between the 2 teams now. Mesko to punt. Line drive. What a catch by Ray Small back there over his head and then bringing it the other way. And Small to about the 42-yard line. 53-yard kick. Take a look at the defensive line for Ohio State, and you look at the ESPN All-State standings review. Alabama's got the weekend off, so does Texas. Texas Tech and Oklahoma getting together for a big one on ABC tonight. And, of course, Penn State, we mentioned, they play Michigan State following us. Most of you will see that game. If Penn State wins, they're going to Pasadena. If Michigan State wins and Ohio State wins this one, it would be the Buckeyes Rose Bowl bound. Simple as that. Beanie Wells got an opening, might be gone. Beanie, 20, 10, goodbye. Play from scrimmage this year for Ohio State. Beanie Wells, 59-yard touchdown. That got the crowd awake. Ryan Pretorius in for the extra point. It's good. So one play after a nice punt by Michigan. Finally, we have some offense in the person of Beanie Wells.
Jim Bowman, the offensive coordinator, got together and says, this is what they're doing. Watch the block that Cordo's going to get. Right up the center. Cordo pulls around, gets the block on the middle linebacker, and right up the middle.
You notice, Grease, that they ran that. This about the 4th or 5th time they've run that play, and it wasn't going anywhere. But this team, they know about Beanie Wells, and they know how good their offensive line is. And what they did is they just kept pounding it, pounding it, pounding it, and then finally Beanie Wells breaks it in the clear for the touchdown.
Beanie go for 1,000 yards on that run. Back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons now for Beanie. It's Jim Bowman, the offensive coordinator in the white shirt.
You know, it took them a few series to find out what Michigan was doing defensively on first down and to come up with something to beat it. And they did.
And the ball is blown off the tee, so we'll try it again. Tee it back up. Sam McGuffey back deep. There's the games coming up tonight. Mentioned Beanie Wells now joins Antonio Pittman, Eddie George, Keith Byers, Tim Spencer, and Archie Griffin. Pretty good group as the only other Ohio State players to have 1,000-yard seasons back-to-back. They're going to have to maybe hold this thing, I think, or we might be here until Monday.
Paul, I thought you said it wasn't windy down there.
The guy doesn't know how to put the ball on the tee, all right?
Kick on the hop. Somebody's got to pick it up. McGuffey finally does. Oh, goodness. You can only hope he's okay.
McGuffey's a true freshman running back from Texas that started the first 5 or 6 games. I don't think he got hit like that last year in high school.
Austin Spittler may be the heir apparent to James Laurinaitis, and he just laid notice on McGuffey. Wow, what a hit.
McGuffey is now a senior.
He's not quite sure what he is right now, I don't think. Well, you wanted intensity. I guess we're getting it. Flags on the play. Bill Lemonnier is our referee.
Illegal substitution. Michigan, 12 men in possession. 5-yard penalty. First down.
It's too many. Rich Rodriguez saying to Mike Massey, you just didn't know, I guess, what the call was. Watch the hit on McGuffey. That is a McGuffey sandwich.
The only good thing about that is he had to see it coming from both sides.
Brandon Miner on the inside for about 4. Cameron Hayward made the stop defensively. Hayward, just a young guy too, played mostly as a starter a year ago, just a sophomore. Craig Ironhead, Hayward's son, and he is going to be one of the greats, they think, by the time he's done at Ohio State. Can play both defensive tackle and defensive end. Second down and 11. Miner to the 30, maybe the 31-yard line. Let's head into Times Square Studio, New York. Here's Matt.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. I'll keep you updated on what's happening throughout the nation, starting with this Taco Bell update. Joe Tiller coaching his final game at Purdue, and on his old Oaken bucket list is Indiana. His Boilermakers playing like they want to get it to him. Curtis Painter with his 3rd touchdown pass of the day. They've scored on each of their 4 possessions, 24-0.
Whoa, Grease.
Joe Tiller's last game.
Well, we wish Joe good luck in retirement.
Yeah.
Sheridan on the run. Throwing late, and it might be intercepted. Marcus Freeman. Did he get it, or was he out of bounds?
I think they said he was out of bounds.
There's Laurinaitis and Freeman. You don't see 33 without number 1. You don't see number 1 without 33. Doesn't matter if they're on the field, or if they're going to class, or they're rolling around campus, or they're in the football offices. That was a heck of an attempt. He never did catch it, but.
Well, the other thing, too, is Sheridan hasn't thrown the ball correctly yet when he's running with the football to throw it. He's got to sit back and throw the ball in the pocket.
Excuse me, a little late.
Here's the punt.
Nice one back to the 14-yard line. Ray Small, who had been suspended from the last couple of games, back in there as a return man. 55-yard kick that time. That's one weapon that Michigan's got. He's a good punter.
Exactly. I was just going to say, you looked at that graphic, Michigan 3 and out the most this year in college football. Doesn't give their defense much time to rest. In fact, some of those guys, when they go off the field, they don't even go back to the bench.
Right.
They just stand, turn around, take a knee, and then they get ready to come back on.
Michigan doesn't have a first down. We've got 2 minutes, 24 seconds left in the first quarter. Ohio State doesn't have many first downs either, but they got a 59-yard touchdown by Beanie Wells. Here comes a blitz. Beanie was hoping to get through there and maybe go for another long gainer. Let's check in with Stacy.
Well, Brad, as with any big game, you see some notable people on the sideline. Take a look at Chris Carter joining the Ohio State fellows. Obviously played here. Now an analyst with us at ESPN. And guys, he's been giving pep talks throughout the course of this first quarter. And he's been as excited as the other players on this team. It almost looks as though he wants to be in a uniform again, guys.
Yeah, he's talking to Ray Small right now. One of the greats ever to play. He and Randy Moss with the Vikings, one of the great tandems ever. Notice Sports Illustrated this week, our old buddy Lynn Swann and John Stallworth voted the #1 receiving duo ever in NFL history. Here's Chris Wells again, and he's close to the first down. Got to about the 31-yard line, picked up 5. Well, Beanie knows about playing well against Michigan. How about last year? His career high, he went for 226. As Ohio State won their 4th in a row, 39 carries, including 2 touchdowns. He's off to a good head start. I like where the linemen come over. You know, you got through the tackle, you got in the end zone. Your lineman comes over, headbutts you about 6 times.
Yeah.
That's a great replay.
You get hit by all those funny helmets, and then you come over and your own guy hits you.
Here's what we were talking about, the group that he has joined, very illustrious group of running backs that Beanie's joined with that touchdown run a few minutes ago. Here he comes again on third. Shorts. Looks like he's got it.
You know, when you watch him from down here, him being Beanie Wells from down here on the field, Ness and Grease, he does a lot of hopping. And we were talking to the offensive coordinator Jim Bowman the other day, and he just said, you know, if you look at him, he's got great feet for a big man. He's got excellent speed, but when he sees a hole, he can hop to it and get back in and out.
You know, I don't know of anybody that plays football or any given sport that doesn't have good feet. Quarterbacks have to have good feet. Linemen have to have good feet.
Dan Herron in there right now. So Herron giving Beanie Wells a little breather here and gets up off the bottom of the pile without his hats. It'll give Beanie a little extra time because that's going to be the last play of the first quarter.
We can do it right here.
As Chris Wells is the only guy that's put points on the board today. Beanie from 59 to make it 7-0 Ohio State at the end of 1. Part of the maybe 200 Michigan fans allowed in here. You can see it's all scarlet and gray at the Horseshoe. We start the second quarter, 7-0 Buckeyes in front. Herron stays in there in the backfield behind Terrell Pryor, and flags start the second quarter.
Prior to snap, false start, 70, offense, 5 yards. Still second down.
Bryant Browning, the right tackle. And you can see no first downs for Michigan. In fact, no yards for Michigan.
Yes, there's a lot of John going on down here between the defensive lineman and the offensive lineman. I guess maybe that's just to keep warm.
Yeah, it started way before kickoff, and they're still talking. Pryor, quarterback draw. Broke one tackle and got bopped out of bounds at about the 39-yard line. Well, one play makes a difference. We always say every week makes a difference, especially if there's an upset. One play's made a difference in this ball game so far.
And Beanie Wells, you know, the defenses are winning this ball game. They seem like they're stopping everybody except for Beanie Wells on one play, and that's the game.
I know I would be frustrated if I was a Michigan defender, because you said they've been out there all day and they haven't had anything to show for it because their offense can't do anything.
Well, when your offense goes 3 and out, and they've done that on 4 possessions, your defensive line and the rest of the defense doesn't get much chance to rest.
Beanie Wells still getting a rest. 3rd down and 4. Here comes a blitz. It's picked up, and Pryor, perfect throw to Ballard as tight end for the 1st down. Boy, you talk about picking up a blitz. Ohio State did a marvelous job right there. Let's check in with Pablo down there on the sideline. Are you warm?
I'm warm, Ness. These guys are keeping me hot. I'll tell you what, it's the first time that Pryor actually set his feet and then looked downfield and didn't look at the defensive guys. Apparently, because all of the offensive guys picked up the guys that were blitzing. This guy's just got to calm down a little bit. He's going to be fine.
He has been fine all year long for a true freshman. Pretty marvelous first season. Wells. And again, Michigan has his number and a loss of 1. Obieze, the linebacker, made the stop. Terrell Pryor flustered in the first quarter. This is the interception to Stevie Brown. And when they weren't doing that, they were trying to wrap him up and sack him, which they were able to do. And especially in that backside, Brandon Harrison blitz off the corner. 8th play of the Ohio State drive. And a 2nd down and 12. The Buckeyes at their own 47. Nice play fake, and Pryor wants it all. Going long, got a man and got him. Touchdown, Hartline. Paul said Pryor's going to be fine if he just calms down. He calmed down and threw a rocket right here. 53 yards, right on the money.
Just a little post pattern, man coverage. The middle is free. It's a great throw there.
Sure was. His 11th touchdown pass of the year. Ryan Pretorius in for the point after. 2 plays have made this ball game for Ohio State.
Give credit to Jim Bowman and Jim Tressel. Tressel calls the plays. Bowman is the offensive coordinator upstairs. They found out what Michigan was doing. They set it up. They told the quarterback it's going to be there, and he executed it.
A 78-yard drive, the big chunk, 53 yards. Terrell Pryor to Brian Hartline for the touchdown. 14-0, Ohio State. Sissoko mishandles the kick and then got crunched at the 15-yard line. Oh, man, we have seen some hitting on special teams today.
Well, when you get your running game going, that's how you can open up things in the passing game. Take a look here. You got 4 Michigan guys on the defensive line. You got 3 more at linebacker. Then they sneak the safety up. That leaves this whole field, the center of the field, open to throw the football. Beanie Wells starts running. They put 8 guys up to stop the run. It's just good calling. It's just good offensive play. Jim Tressel's the offensive guy, made that call. Good play.
Aaron Gant was the guy shaken up on the special teams. He was involved in that big hit. Sissoko on the kick return, and they're helping him off the field. It's Terrell Pryor congratulating his offensive lineman. That's a smart quarterback. I don't care if you're a freshman or not.
You got that right.
Go up and tell the big eaters, thanks guys, I got time on that one.
They'll be carrying a lot of guys off the field today.
From the 17, the end around. Odoms. They try to get the ball in the true freshman's hands because he can be electrifying at times. Let's check in. Matt Weiner, New York.
All right, Brad, Verizon Wireless gets us this update on West Virginia, still in the Big East race in Louisville today. This is Pat White weaving his way through the Cardinal defense. 66 yards here. He's up over 5,000 rushing yards for his career. His 94th career touchdown ties it up. Mountaineers moving the ball again in Louisville.
I hate to say it, but I bet you Rich Rodriguez wishes Pat White was with him here today. Loss of a couple on the play. Carlos Brown hit by Marcus Freeman again. Time right now for trivia question for the week. Who was the first band to perform the script Ohio?
Well, wouldn't that be the Ohio State band?
That's like, what's that punchline to Shay's joke? Duh, big red truck or whatever? I assume that's an easy one.
Yeah.
We'll get the answer for you later. And the throw intended out in the flat for Odoms and too high. Michigan having all kinds of trouble on offense. Well, I can't say they're having trouble on offense. There is no offense.
Well,
right
they haven't made a first down yet.
Nope.
And I tell you, Ohio State has been in every perfect defense for every play that Michigan has called.
This has been the best part of the Michigan team today, the punting unit, including Mesko, who had a 55-yarder. This one not quite so good. Fair catch, taken up the 45 by Ray Small. Great field position again. Ohio State's winning on the scoreboard, and they're winning on the field position as well.
ESPN College Football on ABC. Brought to you by the 2009 Cadillac CTS. Samsung Mobile. To predict the winning teams, text RIVAL to 43776 during Rivalry Week. And Wrangler, makers of Wrangler's 5-star premium denim jeans.
There's the Skull Session over at St. John's Arena. About 2 hours before every home game, there's the drumline show going on in the entrance. Band comes in, team comes in, follows in behind them. Always a packed house. And then you head over to your tailgate party. Unless you're playing football, you walk across to the stadium, into the horseshoe, into the locker room, and then out in the scarlet and gray as you look down from the Goodyear blimp on a sold-out Ohio Stadium. The 105th renewal of the Wolverines and the Buckeyes clashes that started in 1897. Beanie Wells. Thought Beanie was going to try a hurdle job over there at the 48-yard line, which he's been prone to do this year, and he's slow getting up. That's not a good sign. Maybe he should have hurdled the defender, and he says, now get out of here, I'm okay. Well, he knows how to get up in the air. Take you back to a week ago against Illinois. Watch this one. And whoop. I think if he'd have done that there, he wouldn't have gotten tagged on the knee so hard. Oh, he didn't get high enough. He tried to.
Yeah, he was about halfway.
Our producer, Bob Goodrich, all over the top of that one.
Yeah.
I didn't realize he had that great a shot. He tried to get up there. He just didn't make it. He's got the first down run, though, off the left side. And Ryan Van Bergen made the top tackle. Chris Wells, you know, everybody talked about Beanie probably being in the Heisman hunt at the beginning of the year. But then came the injury that kept him out of 3 games. He's limping around out there a little bit still. And he's going to come out of the ball game now. And Herron will take his place. But those 3 games probably took away his Heisman hopes, but certainly it didn't take away from a brilliant year that he's had again despite those injuries. Ohio State's had a load of running back Heisman guys in their past years. There's Herron, the youngster in the group, the redshirt freshman, a lot smaller than Beanie, 5'10", 193, brought down by Stevie Brown.
You just have the feeling that this offensive line and Tressel over here calling the plays, they're going to wear out Michigan's defense. Again, like Grease said before, even in the first quarter, this defense has been on the field a long, long time.
10:25 remaining in the first half. Talked about Ohio State. Vic Janowitz was the first. Hopalong Cassidy came along and won the Heisman. Archie won a couple. The only guy to win 2, and Eddie George in 95. Here's a draw play to Herron. Sneaky little play. Got down to the 35-yard line. Picked up 5 more. Mike Martin made the tackle again. Martin's been in on a lot of plays today from his defensive line spot.
And he's going to have a lot of opportunities to do that because they can't get him off the field.
Yeah, there's Beanie's career numbers, including 30 touchdowns. Came in the number 5 rusher and has passed Keith Byers today to 4th. In fact, that 59-yard touchdown, that's how many he was short of moving into the number 4 spot, and he did it all in one chunk.
There you go.
3rd down and 3 at the 35 of Michigan. Here's the pitch. And they're not going to let Herron get to the corner.
Good
He's brought
defense,
down at the line of scrimmage. Charles Stewart made a nice play. Well, a few minutes ago, we asked you our trivia question. The Duck didn't talk that time. Who was the first band to perform the Script Ohio? Well, you figure it's the Ohio State Marching Band, right?
Yeah.
No, you'd be wrong, my friend. 1932, the Michigan band did it at halftime against Ohio State. There's how it looked in 32. Now, we're on the wrong side of the field, but you understand there's the O, there's the O. Grease has drawn the H and the I for us. There's the H and there's the I there, and the double dotted I there, 2 guys. So Michigan's band actually did Script Ohio before Ohio State's band did. Ohio State takes a timeout with 8 minutes 49 seconds remaining in the first half, and there is the Michigan band. And as I mentioned, that's about the only maize and blue in this facility today. And here was Script Ohio from this morning, dotting the I, Matthew Heller from Ravenna, Ohio, and he did one heck of a job. Paul tried out for this last year, I think, when we were here, when it was homecoming, and Paul was named the homecoming king, and he was warming up. The only problem with Paul, sometimes he gets backwards. He dotted the wrong end of the I. He's trying anyway. Ohio State took a timeout to talk this 4th down over. 4th and 3, and they'll go for it at the Michigan 35-yard line. In the gun, Terrell Pryor. Will they blitz him? They will. And he's going to go deep. Man out there. Rubisky. No flags. Morgan Trent battling with number 80 out there, and it's incomplete, and Michigan takes over. Boy, they needed that play.
They did.
I tell you, down here, it looked like a little bit of contact now by both guys.
This is single coverage, Paul, one-on-one. You got Rubisky against Trent Morgan, or Morgan Trent, excuse me.
Rubisky had to slow up for the ball, and then they got tangled up, and I guess that's a pretty good call.
Yeah,
just leave it alone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There was nothing there.
Here comes that powerful offense.
Yeah, well, the defense isn't sitting down. Well, there's one guy that sat down. He hurried over to sit down.
He's the one that had to run the longest.
Yeah.
First down for Michigan. Sheridan throws back across his body, and they are going to say complete, apparently, at the 41-yard line. Nope. Now they come in from the back and make the call.
Yeah, Michigan's had the ball 5 possessions, and 5 times they've been 3 and out.
Coming up later today, when we're done, Penn State can get a trip to Pasadena. They can get by Michigan State. College football presented by Best Buy as part of Rivalry Week, presented by Samsung Mobile on ABC. 3:30 this afternoon. Most of you are going to see that one when we're done. Sheridan, oh, that's a dangerous throw, and it's incomplete anyway. Odom's the intended receiver, and Kurt Coleman, who has had really a whale of a year from his safety spot, made the hit.
Kurt Coleman never even looked at the ball. All he did was look at the offensive receiver, and he took a line and nailed him.
Kurt, a junior out of Dayton, Ohio, and had a huge game last week in the victory over Illinois. 11 tackles, a career high, and he had an interception. If he'd have turned around, he might have had another one right there. 3rd down and 10, Michigan. This one is complete. Oh, Donald Washington makes the tackle, and they gave him the forward progress to the first down, or so it appears.
I'll tell you, this was an outstanding play by Odom, just to maintain his balance and end up picking up the first down, because he was going down, went down on his hand, got himself back up straight, and picked up the first down.
The first down for Michigan on the day, and it comes with 8:25. The clock now down to 8:17 remaining in the first half. Took them a long time, but now they've got decent field position. Remember, they had an opportunity early in the ball game on an interception to get points, and they missed a field goal. So it's 14-0 Ohio State. Carlos Brown. And Brown got about 3 out to the 48-yard line. Our aerial coverage as you look from way up above the horseshoe, brought to you by Goodyear. Get there on triple tread technology. Goodyear blimp giving us a great shot on a gloomy day and a cold day. The sun was out this morning. And we expect that the best temperature we'll see is about 36 if we're lucky.
How are the heaters doing in the booth?
They are marvelous heaters.
It's a little warm up here, Paul.
Yeah, we're thinking about taking our top coats off.
Yeah.
Second down, Sheridan in trouble, and he swallowed back at the 40-yard line. And Laurinaitis is there and Freeman's there. Rich Rodriguez knows that the season could be defined by what happens here today.
It's this year's team's last impression of our football team. And so a lot of times your last impression is your longest one and your lasting one. And I don't want our players to be defined on one game. I never do. I never will. But at the same time, this one is important because of that last impression.
Well said, Coach. So far, not very well played, I'm afraid. 14-0, Ohio State. Sheridan all by his lonesome in that backfield. Fires it deep out. Nice throw. Out complete. Not going to be enough for the first down, I don't think. Awfully close, though. About a foot shy. 14-yard pickup.
This is one of those areas where Michigan has set the punt team in before, and Mesko is running for a first down.
They're just going to go for it here.
A couple times, yeah. And why not?
Yeah, why not?
Last game of the year.
Last game.
Nothing to play for.
No. There will be no bowl game. It's the first 8-loss season in Michigan history. If you didn't know that, Sheridan straight ahead for the first down. Never happened before that they had lost 8 games. They have never lost 5 straight to Ohio State.
Rodriguez, and when he was at West Virginia, his first year was a 3-8 year.
Yep.
And after that they got better and better and better and better until last year he was 1 game away from going to the national championship game.
It was 8 wins or more every year after that first season. Now the ground game of Brandon Minor. And he might have the first down on that run. Tough run by Minor. Coming up in about 5 minutes and 40 seconds. Capital One halftime report. John and Craig and Doug will be along with the other highlights going on in these early games today. And of course, a look ahead to the all-important Oklahoma-Texas Tech game tonight. Michigan, this is their best opportunity since that interception. They're trying to do something about the score. Play out a quick throw. Odoms forgot to take the ball with him. Yeah, he was running fast.
That's a play that Rodriguez likes. It's this little kid Odoms is a true freshman, as we mentioned, can really pick him up and lay him down. A lot of quickness, a lot of speed, and when you get the ball out there in space, he hopes that the guy can beat the other guy.
Well, you know, Grease, you said little guy. He's 5'9", he weighs 168 pounds. But the most important thing he has to learn is to catch it first.
10th play of the Michigan drive. 2nd and 10. They'll come back with the running play that got him a big one, and it's got him another big one. Minor. Did he get there? Almost. Brandon Minor to the 1-yard line. 32-yard run. Same play. He picked up a first down a couple of plays ago.
And I like coming back and running the same play, Brad. If it works for you once, run it again.
There's outstanding blocking on the right-hand side of the screen. Just take a look at it, and then he gets an excellent lead block. Once he gets in the secondary, there's really nobody back there but the safety to knock him out of bounds.
Was that blimp shot a great replay or what? Perfect view of what Paul was talking about and Bob was talking about as well. And Michigan's going to take a timeout. They don't want to mess up an opportunity at the 1-yard line here with 5 minutes and change remaining.
I think they're taking a look at this up in the replay booth, Brad. And what they're trying to see, great running there and good blocking, is maybe he got in, maybe he didn't. No, his foot.
I think they got it right the first time.
I think you're right. When his foot hit where the ball was, when his right foot hits out of bounds.
Yeah, they might actually spot it back at the 2 instead of the 1.
No, it's not where his foot goes out of bounds. It's where the ball is when he goes out of bounds.
The ball is right. The ball should be at the 1-yard line where it is there. It's not. You're going to see the ball is out in front of him there at the 1.
I think the ball and the foot are in the same spot is what I'm saying.
It's about right. It's about 1.5, 2.
And they've had a tough day, Ness. All right, give it to them.
Absolutely. I'm not trying to take anything away from Brandon Minor. That was a heck of a run.
Hey, Brad,
anytime Michigan gets first down, I'm happy because the score's getting closer.
The ruling on the field is confirmed. The runner was out of bounds at the 1-yard line.
I think it's going to leave it alone.
Hey, Ness,
so they do give it to him.
If Paul says one thing and you say another, I'm going with you.
Thank you.
Because I know
Wait
Paul.
A minute. I said the 1, he didn't. Be a little brown noser.
You down there on the line of scrimmage, Paul?
He almost is.
Yeah.
I'm right on it.
First and goal. Brandon Minor, the tailback, gets the call and a head-on collision, and he lost a little bit on that one.
Now that's a good call defensively.
Hey, Nessler, do you talk about Freeman a lot? Marcus Freeman? Watch this. Here's your guy coming down.
Well, that's
bang, bang, and on the bottom.
Paul, that's why when you run that play, you always have a tight end over there. They didn't have a tight end to that side. It was open, and he just came right off the tackle.
Hey, Paul, now they're at the 2-yard line.
Thanks.
Second down and goal. Michigan trying to cut the lead in half. The toss to Minor this time. He's not going to get there again unless second effort. Nope. His knee touchdown. Now they got third down and a bunch. Loss of about 5.
This almost tells you the story of Michigan's season right here. You had a long run to get down to the 1-yard line. You couldn't get it in. You run 2 plays and you lose 6, 7 yards. Take a look. Toss to the right. All the red shirts out there. Just good defense. You had it on the 1-yard line, and now you got it back on the, the 6 or 7-yard line.
Third and goal at the 7. Matthews and Savoy to the top of your screen. Sheridan in the gun. They're going to blitz him. Minor on the carry, and he might get there this time. No, he won't. Run out of bounds by Jenkins and Coleman.
You know, we watch a lot of teams, how they tackle on defense, and a lot of them don't tackle very well. Well, this Ohio State team, they do tackle very well. And I'm not talking just about the linemen and linebackers. Here comes number 2, Jenkins. Watch this. He's a corner. And when Jenkins, the corner, fills.
Fourth and goal. Minor. Touchdown, Michigan. It took them 4 cracks from the 1. They backed up a couple times, then went forward, and finally Brandon Minor from a yard out.
That kind of tells you about Michigan's offensive season so far this year. The little truck that couldn't do it and finally got it done.
Lapata in for the point after with 2:51 left in the half. It's good. A 65-yard drive in 14 plays. For Brandon Minor, a major run to get Michigan close. And finally, after struggling on 4th and goal, number 4 takes it the final yard. 14-7.
You girls have fun.
It's time to unleash your inner Santa. Head to Santa's other workshop, the Home Depot, the one place with everything you need to make your home festive, inside and out, all at guaranteed low prices, now even lower. Bring the holidays home for less at the Home Depot.
The Liberty Mutual Coach of the Year award is given to the college football coach in each division who delivers results while demonstrating sportsmanship, integrity, responsibility, and excellence both on and off the field. Go to coachoftheyear.com and vote for the coach you think deserves to win in 2008.
Brandon Miner, his 11th touchdown of the year, his 9th rushing, has cut the Ohio State lead in half, 14-7. 14-play drive for Michigan. As Bob said, that's the story of this season. They've had to earn everything. Took them 6 minutes almost to go 65 yards, and they converted 2 4th and 1s on that drive, including the touchdown. Kick is way short at about the 18-yard line. Lamar Thomas trying to get away. They won't let him. And dropped at about the 30-yard line. Zach Johnson made the stop on the special teams. Coming up tonight, we mentioned it earlier, should be a dandy in Norman. Number 2 Texas Tech taking on the hometown Sooners. Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines, part of Rivalry Week presented by Samsung Mogul on ABC tonight at 8 o'clock.
What do you think, Ness? Do you think it's going to be an offensive shootout?
Oh boy, I think so. I think Oklahoma can shoot just as much as Texas Tech can, though. Yeah. And they don't lose at home much.
No, they don't.
Not under Bob Stoops, anyway. Beanie Wells puts his head down and barrels his way out for about 4 yards before John Thompson brought him down. Let's check in with Stacey Dale. Stace.
Well, Brad, if anybody thinks this game's far from over for these Ohio State players, they got to think again, because they don't think that way. In fact, after that last surge by the Michigan offense, tight end coach and quarterback coach John Peterson went to all of his offense. They popped up and he said, guys, this is 4 quarters. You got to wake up right now. You got to keep playing and finish this half and then finish this game with 4 quarters. And it kind of galvanized the offensive unit, guys, here as they get set to go, Brad.
Well, that's a good point, because remember, it's 2 big plays by Ohio State, a Beanie Wells run and a throw by Pryor to Hartline, and that's really all they've done offensively. Well, as we take a look at our Pacific Life game summary, and this is kind of what we were talking about. It's been big plays. 2 by Ohio State and 1 by Michigan. This was Beanie Wells. This is where he went over 1,000 yards rushing for a 2nd straight year on a 59-yard touchdown romp. Then it was Pryor to Hartline for a score, making it 14-0, and then Brandon Miner, the long run down the sideline to the 1. Subsequently went in from a yard out. 14-7 Ohio State. Brad Nessler, Bob Greasy, Paul McGuire, and Stacey Dales from the Horseshoe in Columbus. Pryor all day to stand there tall in the pocket, and he ran out of it in a hurry. Tim Jamison flying in there with a different number jersey on.
Yeah.
And he's got the sack.
Yeah.
Well,
so
that's a
78's
sack
not
shirt.
so bad.
No. He might want to keep 78 and throw 90 in the garbage.
That's his sack jersey.
That's his 6th sack of the year. Playing in his 50th game. Tim Jamison with the sack. We've got a timeout here, and it gives us time to go to Times Square studio and another update.
All right, Brad, SportsCenter right now is powered by Vizio. West Virginia's racked up 214 yards rushing. They could have used 1 more against Louisville. Noel Devine's apparent touchdown run was overturned on review, so they're tied up with Louisville at 7 at the half. Meanwhile, the only other ranked team playing at this moment besides Ohio State is North Carolina. The Tar Heels trailing on their home field to NC State. It is 10-3 there.
Well, what else would happen in the ACC?
You figure that one out,
yeah,
would you?
no, I don't want to.
You guys want me to explain the ACC to
Maybe
you?
after the game, Paul. Trapasso to punt. Whoa, they came after him, and he got it out of there. Greg Matthews says, everybody back away. Michigan's going to have the football with 1 minute 9 seconds and 1 timeout remaining. 1:09 left in this one on this November 22nd. And on this day in college football history, how about these 2 milestones? Woody's first win over Michigan back in '52, and he wasn't even wearing glasses at the time. And in 1969, Bo Schembechler, his first win against Ohio State. And then 5 years ago was the 100th game of the series on this November 22nd. Here we are for the 105th time. Woody, the great years against Bo, they were magical, weren't they? Miner dropped in the backfield for a loss. Cameron Hayward made first contact. Hayward 6'6", 287, and still growing.
Yeah, Brad, and that defensive line is just eating up the offensive line for Michigan. That time he couldn't even get back to the line of scrimmage.
Michigan doesn't want to make a mistake here either. They'd love to get points, but what they really don't want to do is turn one over. Sheridan pump fakes, throws, got a man open in the slots, down to the 45-yard line. And it's Odoms who found himself a spot back there to pick up a 21.
This was a pretty well-designed play. They flooded the area on the left-hand side, and they just got Odoms. He just checked up about 15 yards deep, and they got the ball to him.
Clock stops while the chains are moved.
One timeout remaining for Michigan, and they spike it here with 29 seconds remaining in the second quarter. So if they were to get it down to, you know, the 32-yard line and give Lopata a shot at one.
Just a little while ago. I mean, the intensity before this game was very high.
Now the quick snap, the throw, wide receiver screen, and they maybe got to the 41. Pickup of about 4. Bob, you want to circle that Michigan timeout thing up there for us?
Yeah, there you go. You just
right,
got one.
Right, whoop, there it is. You hit it with your sleeve.
Got my
there
sleeve.
You go. we got layers on up here. Every time Bob hits the monitor with his sleeve on his top coat, everything goes wacky.
That telestrator doesn't like those coats.
No, it doesn't. Well, they are out of those timeouts now.
Just a little while ago, we had an intense game, Brad, is what I was going to say. Now, not so much.
Herb Brooks spoke of miracles. Jane Pauley speaks with integrity. Jesse Owens spoke of equality. Steve McCurry speaks through humanity. Gerald Ford spoke of world peace. Find your voice.
There you look at KC Lopata, his career-long 50 yards, and a hard-hitting 14-7 Ohio State lead in the first half. You want intensity? Hello, James Laurinaitis. Oh. Hello, Terrell Pryor. Goodbye, Brandon Miner. That's the one that hurt. McGuffey on the kick return. That's what we've had in the 105th renewal of a rivalry that started in 1897. No timeouts now for Michigan. 18 seconds with which to work, and a third down here. Third down and 6. Streak down the sideline, incomplete. Nice coverage over there by Malcolm Jenkins, the all Big Ten corner, and he'll be a good one at the next level. Malcolm really one of the vocal leaders. They're going to miss him. He's one of the captains on the Thorpe semifinalist list. He's been starting for 4 years. He can block kicks. He's big enough to hit you, and
he can about do it all, can he?
Yeah, he can.
There've been a lot of corners and safeties come out of Ohio State into the pros. You know that?
Yeah. Michigan's had a few good ones too.
Yes, they have. Yep.
Fourth down and 6. Sheridan taking all day, and
they took a delay of game penalty. It seemed like they took that on purpose.
They did it so they could punt. I think so they can punt the ball.
I don't know why they do that.
I don't either. I mean, you don't have to worry about a coffin corner kick. There's only 14 seconds left. Just kick it.
That means you don't have much confidence in your offense right there. Now Sheridan is the backup quarterback. He was a walk-on a couple of years ago. So you're not playing with your main guy in there either.
Mesco line drives it down. It's going to roll all the way down inside the 5 and down to the 1. I mean, you can't do it any better than that. 4 seconds remaining in the half. 45-yard punt. So there'll be one more play for Ohio State. The only thing you got to be a little bit careful about, you can't take a knee here because it's in the end zone.
Yeah, you just quarterback sneak it. But the way this whole thing started out and was going about midway through the second quarter, it looked like Ohio State had everything going their way. 14-0, and Michigan was in trouble. They get that touchdown, and they're back in the ball game.
And it's exactly what Stacy was talking about down there. The coaching staff trying to tell these guys, I don't know if you think this is over or what. But really, you take away, you can't take away. You take away Beanie Wells' touchdown run. You take away Terrell Pryor's touchdown pass.
Yeah.
Ohio State hasn't done anything. And boy, he had to work on that quarterback sneak to not go down in the red of that end zone to end the half. So they'll unpile bodies, and both teams have to walk toward each other again. So you've got to always watch out for that. You know what? Ohio State's coaches are keeping their team away from Michigan as it crosses the path. That's probably a pretty smart move.
Yeah.
As this has been chippy for most of the day. It started about 2 hours ago. Let's go down to Stacy.
Coach, Michigan gained a little momentum there. What's your reaction?
Well, we were down there on the 35, and we took the option of going for it. And, you know, as I look back, I guess that maybe I should have punted it down to the 10, but they did a good job. Michigan never stops playing. They've done that for 125 years or whatever, and it's going to be a great football game.
How do you feel like your offense has protected Pryor?
Well, you know, not too bad. We had one or two that weren't so good, but there were a couple times that, you know, the receivers weren't open and threw away a couple, but we got a long half to go.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Well, an admission by Jim Tressel that maybe he would have done things a little bit differently. 14-7 at halftime as we head to Times Square studio in New York. John, Craig, and Doug, fellas.
This is ESPN Rivalry Week, presented by Samsung Mobile.
14-7, our college football on ESPN on ABC, presented by Best Buy, part of Rivalry Week, presented by Samsung Mobile. 105th time, Ohio State and Michigan. ESPN's college football on ABC, presented by Best Buy. Brad Nessler, Bob Greasy, Paul McGuire, and Stacey Dales. This is such a game of emotion and mood swings and all of that. And I think Michigan's got a little bit of an edge right now.
Well,
maybe.
such excitement when it started, before and when it started. And then when Ohio State went up 14-0, I felt like there was a little downtime. But then Michigan comes back, scores 7 points, and we've got a football game.
Yes, we do. That's what we were hoping for, and we got it. Rich Rodriguez, I'm sure, has told his team we're one play away from being in a tie with heavily favored Buckeyes at home, who have to kick off. Remember, they got the ball first at the beginning of the ball game. Michigan gets it to start the third quarter. Short kick taken at the 13 by Odoms. Odoms goes down at about the 23-yard line. I noticed that the cart down there does not have Paul McGuire on it anymore, and now I do wonder where he might be.
Where is he?
Oh, I know where. I bet I know where he is.
I mean, we're having a cookie. You saw the other side. Now we're on this side. And the only thing you can see from over here is from like the 50 back. You maybe get 60 yards. And these are people that sit over here. You buy these are season tickets? Yeah? You actually pay it? You get a discount? No? Well, they didn't see 2 touchdowns. I just want to let you know that.
First down, Michigan to open the quarter, and Sheridan keeps it. Nice run, got it out to the 31-yard line.
I'm sorry, Ness, I was eating a cookie again. But it's kind of neat up here. They've got cookies, they've got hot chocolate, they got all that good stuff. And some guy just stole my wallet. But other than that, it's really not bad up here. You just can't see the other end of the field. Boy, these are great cookies. You guys want one?
Bring one over. You're not that far away from us.
It looks like a good spot for him, because that spot tells me he only knows half as much as he thinks he knows.
That's right. He only can see half the field.
Yeah.
And you know, you heard of the red zone? That whole side of the field, that's the dead zone if you're sitting over in those seats.
Well, you can't see to the right side.
Well, Paul's worked about every angle of this stadium over the last 2 or 3 years. First down at the 35. Dual backfield in there. Mundros, the fullback, and Brandon Miner, who's got Michigan's touchdown today. Here he comes again. And another good run out to the 43, almost the 44-yard line for Brandon Miner. Pickup of 8 more yards as we take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. Statistically, up until a couple of plays ago, here's how it looked 2.8 per play for Michigan.
Yes. Still nothing very good for Michigan offensively.
But they're starting to get their ground game going, and that could have a trickle effect in this ball game a little bit too, because now Ohio State's defense has been on the field a little more regularly, much like Michigan's was most of the first half. Let's check in with Stacy.
Brad, you mentioned that Michigan may have a bit of an edge. Well, I talked to Rich Rodriguez. He was pleased with the way they played in the first half. Other than a couple big plays defensively, he said they were terrific. And offensively, they finally found rhythm because of first downs. He told us it'd be a key, guys, first downs.
And here comes another first down and then some. Down to the 41-yard line. Stacy right on cue with that one, a pickup of 13 more. And now Michigan's sort of feeling it. You can see a little bit of a swagger on a team that's 3-8, and a little more excitement on their sideline.
It tells me that Rich Rodriguez did a nice job at halftime firing this Michigan team up, saying, hey, we got a chance to beat these guys. Let's go out and play well in the second half.
Here's Sheridan to the 40. Pickup of a couple. Thaddeus Gibson made the tackle.
That was one play, Brad, that they did not run in the first half, is the fake and the quarterback keeping it.
Stephen Threet didn't even make the trip. Threet started much of the year at quarterback for Michigan. 5 straight running plays for the Wolverines. Have it at the 39 of Ohio State. Now they're going to throw. Complete. Odoms. Nice open field tackle out there by Chekwa.
If he breaks that tackle, he goes 40 yards. This is one thing about Ohio State defensively. You mentioned it earlier. They can tackle. In space, they can tackle the defensive backs. He saved a 40-yard gain right there.
Yep. Jenkins and Coleman and Russell and Chekwa, all those guys in that secondary are good hitters. Michigan trying to snap a 4-game losing skid against their arch nemesis from here in Columbus. Trailing by a touchdown, but on a drive here in the third quarter. Sheridan in trouble. He's got to get rid of this thing. Tyler Moeller came storming in from his star position, they call it. He's kind of not a safety and not a linebacker, but he makes a lot of things happen out there, number 26 does. And he did that a week ago, and he's been doing it all season long.
Jim Haycock, the defensive coordinator, talking to us yesterday, said he was going to play a lot because of the spread formation of Michigan.
You look at Mesko, he'll try to do what he did at the end of the first half, I'm sure, on this punt. See if he can drop it inside the 5. He hit it a mile in the air. Should give his coverage unit enough time to maybe catch it down there. And it will roll inside the 10, but not the 5. Dead at about the 9-yard line. 11:43 to go in the third quarter as we have time to take a look at our best buy playbook. Mr. Greasy.
Bradley, when you can run the football, it opens up a lot of things for you. Take a look at Ohio State right here. Hartline is lined up just outside. He's going to run a post pattern. The middle of the field is going to be wide open because they've got 8 guys up close to the line of scrimmage to shut down the run of Beanie Wells. That opens up Pryor down the middle to Hartline. That's easy picking right there.
If you haven't seen the game to this point, that touchdown pass and Beanie Wells' long touchdown run is about all Ohio State's offense has got to show for it. Here might be another big one. Beanie out to midfield.
Hey, how about halftime talks and figuring out what's going to work? First play, Tressel calls a little toss to the left side.
From the blimp, here's the view. You'll see the blocking set up on the left, and then Beanie sees that opening, and he takes off. 42 more yards for Chris Wells.
That got him out of a hole. Jim Tressel was running along the sideline, just encouraging him.
I wonder what coach's 40 time is. First down at the 49. And now they got a quick opener to Herron, and he is gone. Herron, touchdown. First Mr. Wells, then Mr. Herron. 49-yard career long for Herron and a touchdown.
Hey boy,
That is about as quick of a 91-yard drive as you can have.
It's impressive because the coaches at halftime went through, knew what they wanted to get done, and came out and got it called.
21-7, Ohio State.
Watch the blocking up front. The left side, they run this into the short side of the field. Ballard gets a nice block from his tight end position, but both of those long runs from the short side into the field, just great planning by the coaches of Ohio State.
ESPN's presentation of college football on ABC, presented in high definition from high atop the Horseshoe in Columbus. Sold out Ohio Stadium for the 105th renewal of the Buckeyes and the Wolverines. The Buckeyes just scored a 2-play drive, 1 long run by Beanie Wells, 1 long run by Dan Herron, and they lead 21-7. This kick will go to the goal line to Sissoko. Cuts back left, got himself a little bit of an opening. Nice return out to the 32-yard line. 32-yard kick return. And let's head back down to the cart.
Hey, Brad. Well, I've taken over the best seat in the house. You know, I've got the bird's eye view down here.
Boy, is that an improvement.
Paul McGuire is, but I have a little analysis of my own. I mean, Jim Tressel tells me at the half this game's far from over. They come out 91 yards later, touchdown, little cut back to the left, and he's in the end zone. So how about that for you?
Just don't drink out of that cup unless it's a different cup, okay, Stacey?
I got Chips Ahoy, and I got a little espresso.
There you go. Well, Paul's working his way back to the cart. That was an extreme improvement on that camera shot, and Jay, our camera guy, is the most appreciative fella in the stadium right now, I think. Here's Sheridan, and a keeper, lost a yard. Marcus Freeman, the outside linebacker, played his final game, the Horseshoe, with another tackle. Talked about Freeman and Laurinaitis, virtually inseparable. On the field, off the field. I talked to both of them yesterday. All of us did. Those guys are like hooked at the hip. Number 33 and number 1. The best of friends, both on and off the field.
They'll be playing against each other next year.
Unless somebody drafts them 1 and 2 in the NFL in the first couple rounds. Sheridan. Oh, and he takes a big lick by Laurinaitis at the end of the play and just was trying to get rid of the ball, and he still got a whole mouthful of number 33. Well, this is a big rivalry. James Laurinaitis talked about his favorite part of it.
It's so passionate between the teams. You know, the series is so true. You know, you look at it, it's not some blown up rivalry. It's a real rivalry. It's talked about year round, and the mood of each state is going to depend on the outcome of this game.
They are going to miss those two, aren't they?
They are. He doesn't act like a middle linebacker.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't act crazy.
Here's a run off the left and out for about 5 to the 36. James left the crazy to his dad Joe in the wrestling ring. That's crazy.
Now this guy is sensible, good looking.
There's Joe.
There's Joe.
Joe's here today. Of course, he and Lori, is James' mom and dad, on the field for the senior day. All the parents were down there. And a lot of people dress up for Little Animal, they call him. James told me his sister's here. One of his grandparents, I think, is here. Said my defensive coordinator from high school, Matt Lombardi's here. He said, mention Coach Lombardi for me. Oh, what a punt. Down to the 14-yard line and a flag down. I think we're going to have a roughing the kicker call on the other end. Ray Small goes down, but a penalty marker. Hayward, I think, is the guy that got the big rush on Mesko. And it is personal foul against Ohio State. So instead of having the ball back, here's another look.
43 defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Yeah, he got him pretty good. That was Nathan Williams, a freshman on the special teams.
You know, that was, you know, that deserved to be called, but a lot of times these punters can hold their foot out there and just let them be run in, which there's a fine line. The referee's looking right at it, and I think that should be called because obviously, you know, it was roughing the punter, but sometimes It's just a tough call a lot of times, but that one was legitimate.
So instead of having the ball in their own territory, it's Michigan in Ohio State territory. Play action, deep ball down the middle, double coverage, almost caught. Greg Matthews went up for it. Anderson Russell was there with him. Probably a pass that shouldn't have been thrown, but Sheridan had his mind made up and he let it go.
That fake did not fool anybody, and you're right, Ohio State could have caught it.
Coming up when we're done, Michigan State and Penn State. Of course, Ohio State hopes that Michigan State does them a favor and beats Penn State. It's presented by Best Buy, part of Rivalry Week, presented by Samsung Mobile. 3:30 when we're done from Columbus. Most of you are going to see the Spartans and the Nittany Lions. Second down and 10. Michael Shaw got about 3.
Were you insinuating that Michigan State was pulling for Michigan to win?
I said Ohio State would be pulling for Michigan State to beat Penn State.
Oh, okay. I thought you did it the other way, where Michigan State, to go to the Rose Bowl, needs Michigan to beat Ohio.
That's true, too.
That's true, too. Yeah.
If we've confused you folks, we're sorry. But both of those scenarios are true.
Yes.
You guys aren't having a domestic, are you?
No, we're not. Go have another cookie, Paul.
I love the cookies.
Third down and 7. Sheridan going to go deep down the sideline this time. Guy there. Broken up, though. Malcolm Jenkins.
He had it and underthrew it. If he hadn't have underthrown the ball, I think it would have been a touchdown.
Here's the isolation. Matthews on Jenkins. And he ran right by him.
Yeah, if he lays the ball out in front, but he has to come back for it, and Malcolm makes a great play.
Well, Mesco's dropped his last 2 punts inside the 10-yard line. Let's see if he can do it again. This one's not going to make it unless it takes some kind of super bounce. It takes a wrong bounce if you're a Michigan fan. And they put it down at about the 25-yard line. James Laurinaitis, he and Freeman both play on special teams. Even though they're superstars, doesn't mean they don't play on special teams. Here was James coming out for senior day. There's Joe and Lori. Big hug for their kid, All-American Butkus winner.
What did he say? His dad is a big softie. He'll be crying.
Yeah. As the Ohio State University Medical Center, you say, so what? Well, babies born during Michigan week get a handmade scarlet or gray blanket. 126 babies are born this week, 3 already today. You know, and you can name your kid like Scarlet or Gray, maybe, or Tress. Tress is good.
Tress is
Buck.
good.
Buck for Buckeye.
Troy.
Beanie. If you have twins, you could name them Lori and Itis.
Terrell.
Yeah. First down, Ohio State. There is Beanie Wells. It'd be a Beanie Baby then, wouldn't it?
It'd be a beanie.
And everybody
We're just amusing
around.
ourselves here. I'm sorry. I think the twins, the guy's name is Itis and the name's Lori. Laurinaitis. I think it's great. There's James. You might have seen going to break. Not only was he hugging his mom and dad, Terry Rubisky, Brian's dad, kissed him right on top of the head.
Ness, Beanie Wells just limped off the field. I mean, I don't know whether it's his leg cramped up or whatever, but he took himself out of the game.
He took a pop on that attempted hurdle earlier in the ball game, and it might be getting a little bit cold on him if he got it hit on the same spot again. It's an empty backfield right now except Terrell Pryor, and it's a quarterback draw all the way. And he's out to about the 30-yard line.
Pryor has not had a great day by any stretch of the imagination. He's had an interception and been sacked 3 times.
One perfect throw.
Yeah, exactly. One perfect throw for a touchdown. Jim Tressel told us yesterday that he is very poised for a quarterback playing so early, and he takes care of the football. In fact, that means he doesn't turn it over, he doesn't throw it away. And because of that, if he doesn't throw it away, a lot of times he'll take sacks that he doesn't need to take. You wouldn't think a guy that can be that elusive sometimes would get sacked so much.
As you saw, all 3 sacks came on 3rd down. Well, here's 3rd down and 5. He'll roll away from the pressure on this one and throw on the run. Incomplete. And Ohio State will have to punt it away. Here's Beanie earlier. trying to keep the legs warm. And then the play where he went down kind of awkwardly and then limped off after that. So we'll see whether or not he comes back in. Herron would be the first man, as we've seen many times today already, to replace him if necessary. Trapasso, the punt. Nice one all the way to the 20 and a fair catch at about the 19-yard line. Michigan's got the ball back. They're 2 touchdowns behind here with 6:43 to go, third quarter. That's not part of script, Ohio. That is the blood on the sock of Beanie Wells right on his shin. A perfect O, though. And we'll see if he comes back when Ohio State gets the ball back. Meanwhile, Michigan has it from the 19-yard line. Michael Shaw might have gotten a yard. And Laurinaitis will unpile from the bottom of that heap again. Laurinaitis, a finalist for the Lombardi Award. He won the Butkus last year. He's a semifinalist for that again. He's won about every defensive award you can win or been on the lists of those awards anyway. Here's that open man again at the 40. Stoneham still on his feet, and he's into Ohio State territory. That's the same pass route that worked a little while ago when they got it over to Odoms.
That's is they fake the throw behind the line of scrimmage, and the defensive men come up, and then the outside receiver just goes deep and he hits him right in the seam. Michigan needs big plays. They cannot sustain drives against this defense.
They got 33 on that one. Now they come back with a counter, and it's Shaw. That play seems to have worked today pretty well, too.
That's the only running play all day long that's worked for him. It worked when Minor ran it. That's when he got that big gain down to the 1-yard line. And it just seems that they want to just work on the right-hand side or the left-hand side of the offense of the Ohio State defense.
Michigan going with the hurry-up offense seems to be working for him pretty well, too. Shaw going to reverse field this time, and he'll pay the price for that.
Yeah, this defense is too disciplined to allow that to happen. He won't cut back on this. Jim Haycock, the coordinator, yesterday telling us that Michigan offensively has different speeds, that they can no huddle, and that's a concern for him because substitution-wise, you may get caught, but that's what Michigan is doing, trying to speed up and slow down the offense.
Now in this case, Michigan looks a little confused as to who they do want out there, and with that, Ohio State was able to substitute, so exactly what Grease is talking about just occurred, and Michigan under 10 seconds on the clock here. They're going to get it off okay, apparently. Second down and 15. Sheridan up, receiver incomplete.
Yeah, he had him, but he had to get rid of it. Blitz on the way.
Gibson was coming, and he knew it. As our aerial coverage today brought to you by Goodyear. Get there on triple tread technology. There's the horseshoe in Columbus, Ohio. There's probably about 105,000 or so here today. Even though capacity is 102,329. The fire marshal never comes in here. We don't care. Third down at 15. A bunch of receivers, 4 to the top of your screen, and Sheridan's going to run it. They tried to spread things out and trick Ohio State, and that didn't work either. Rob Rose made the tackle on Sheridan.
You know, that's one thing that Greasy just said a couple plays ago or a play ago about how disciplined this defense is. They do not take fakes. They play their position, and that's why Michigan is really having a problem running the ball anywhere except to the right side.
Sheridan's having a problem even getting to the sideline, and that might mean that we're going to see a lot of Justin Fagan.
Yeah, Fagan. He's the third guy on the list.
Mesko has been a busy punter. Going to try to come over to the near side here, and he line drived it to the 13 to Ray Small. Small still on his feet. Ray Small down the sideline. He might take it. How did he even stay in bounds? 81 yards.
Unless he ran right by me, and I'm going to tell you, they just tried what they tried to do is hand tackle him and push him out of bounds, but he kept his balance. Watch it. That's signal for a fair catch, and once he gets to the sideline, watch what they try to do. You arm tackle him. You can't do that.
Wow, what a return. 81 yards to the 8-yard line.
Ray Small has been suspended for a couple of games for, I think, not attending class. Now he's back on the roster. He's not playing wide receiver today, but he is returning punts.
Heron is in, flanking Pryor in the shotgun. First and goal, Ohio State. Pryor to the end zone. Robisky, touchdown. One of the captains, one of the seniors, one of the leaders. Touchdown, Ohio State. Ryan Robisky. His dad, the receivers coach for the Atlanta Falcons, made the trip up to watch his kid play. Mom's here as well. They're happy parents right now. Extra points. Good. 28-7. Ohio State. 3:54 remaining in the third quarter. And Pryor's second touchdown throw of the day. And watch the big guy roll from behind. Here's what Terrell Pryor's looking at, Grease.
Well, they like to get him outside the pocket. Little fake here, roll out. Smith is covered, so he goes to the deeper man, which Robisky. Nice throw and nice catch. Threw it. The only place he could catch it was low and away, and he went down and made the play.
We mentioned his dad's a coach in the NFL and has been for a long time, and he says he's the biggest influence he's ever had on him.
Just an unbelievable amount. I think you know, obviously it's a blessing to have a coach in my family, but then a guy who's been around the NFL so many years. I mean, it's just hard for me to just explain how much he's done for me.
Here's before the game, coming down that tunnel, a hug for his coach. There's Terry, his dad. His mom Cynthia is here. And boy, senior day against Michigan and get a touchdown pass. That's big stuff. And another major collision on a kick return. We've had a lot of those today. Brian, an academic all-district performer, 3.54. There's his dad, and mom's right behind.
I played with Terry.
Yeah.
And
there's Cynthia, his mom with a cap on.
Yeah.
I saw him before the game, Terry, when I was walking on the field, Grease, and he just, first of all, he said to say hello to everybody, but I mean, he is so proud of his son. It's just unbelievable. I mean, like all parents are.
Yeah, well,
not only doing great in school, but on the football field, too.
You bet.
Yeah. Justin Fagan in at quarterback. We expected to see him at some point today. I don't know that we thought we'd see him because of Sheridan limping off the last time that Michigan had the ball. Shaw, maybe a yard, a tough one, if at all. And Laurinaitis is there to meet him. Let's check in with Stacy.
Well, Brad, just a quick Beanie Wells update. I just spoke with Doug Callan, the head athletic trainer for Ohio State. He has some hamstring tightness. He will be reevaluated, but he's doubtful to return. So we'll see if he comes back, but it's doubtful.
Okay, well, that hamstring that he twinged a little bit was part of, he said, that hurdle job he did over the Illinois defender last week. So in this cold weather, sometimes can start to tighten up on you again. Michael Shaw out to maybe the 23-yard line. Laurinaitis, I guess I could say that every play. Laurinaitis on the tackle. So can somebody record that downstairs? Billy By, our audio man, maybe, and I'll just lay out here.
Hey, Ness, I tell you, it's really funny. Is Fagan rides Shaw into the hole, and all of a sudden Shaw comes right back into Fagan's lap.
Well, if Fagan, the quarterback, the redshirt quarterback, throws a pass here, it'll be his first pass of the year.
Third down and a long 6. He rolls to throw and tucks it and goes down. And Michigan will have to kick.
What a difference this Michigan offense right now from the game last year at this time.
You didn't have to wonder who made that tackle, did you?
Yeah. No. Chad Henne, Jake Long, Hart, Arrington, Manningham, All those guys played in this game and barely got over 100 yards against the Ohio State defense.
Laurinaitis, that was his 11th tackle of the day. I said earlier he might get 20. I wasn't kidding. Here's the kick. Remember, Small took the last one on the fly and took it 81 yards. He's got to get out of the way of this one as it rolls dead at about the 44-yard line. Great field position again, though, for Ohio State with 1:54 remaining in the third quarter. Reminder, coming up tomorrow, you've never seen an American Music Awards lineup bigger than this one. You'll get performances from Beyonce, Kanye West, Rihanna, Coldplay, Alicia Keys, and a lot more. All the winners are all decided by you. Red carpet special starts at 7. Then Jimmy Kimmel will host at 8. 2008 American Music Awards live on ABC tomorrow night with Bob Greasy, Paul McGuire, Stacey Dales, Brad Nessler with you from the Horseshoe in Columbus, where the Buckeyes now are starting to separate from the Michigan Wolverines 28-7. Pryor wants more, and he's got Robisky again. Not quite. Oh boy.
Well, let me tell you what happens on this play. Robisky, if he runs straight down the field, he makes the touchdown. What he did, he started to bend in towards the post a little bit, not to get rid of the defensive man Warren. He just started to bend it inside, and the ball was thrown to the outside. Had he stayed outside, Greasy would have had the touchdown.
Well, I think what happened was Robisky was running where it was open a little bit to the inside. Pryor was throwing the ball the way they always throw it in practice. So what you have to do is don't make up your mind how you're going to throw it before you get in the situation and see what's going on.
Second down at 10. Herron bottled up by Tim Jamison right at the line of scrimmage. 1:40 remaining in the third quarter. Let's talk about our performers of the week, Paul.
Yeah, I took Sean Green of Iowa. This guy for the 11th time in a row over 100 yards rushing.
Grease?
Nate Kimmick, he is a senior at Mount Union. He has 114 touchdowns, which is the all-time college football in the history of college football.
I'm going to go Kerry Collins, the old man of the Tennessee Titans, former Big Ten Player of the Year, and he's got the Titans at 10-0. We're going to check Stacy's after the play. Seems like there's a familiar name underneath her picture. Third down at 10. Pryor, here comes the pressure again. Remember, all his sacks came on third down today. Might be another one here, but he's buying time. And throwing long. And it's caught by Sanzenbacher.
He threw a duck.
Yeah, he threw a duck, but Sanzenbacher was so wide open, it was unbelievable. Everybody is chasing Pryor around. He's dodging people. And Sanzenbacher, you'll see him way downfield by himself.
The play is made by number 2, though.
Oh, for sure.
Around one guy,
missed one time.
Around another guy.
2. He missed him twice.
Yep.
Now he throws a duck. If he would have thrown this ball solidly, he would have caught it and gone in for a touchdown.
At the 21-yard line, first down. And now Herron. And Herron's got a big hole left side. All the way down to the 2. Our performers of the week, Stacy, who's the guy you got?
Well, obviously you guys saved the best for last and not take away the luster of the game right now, but my brother, Burke Dales, he is the punter for the Calgary Stampeders, and they're playing in the Grey Cup tomorrow, and he won the game ball because he saved a touchdown. So kudos to my brother, very proud sister on the side.
Little sis, there you go. That ends the third quarter. Good luck in that title game in the CFL tomorrow, Burke.
Yes.
We're going to walk way down to the other end, and that's going to make some fans happy that are in the other end zone because we played 3. All Ohio State right now at home, leading Michigan 28-7. Ohio State's offense chomping at the bit to start the fourth quarter at the Michigan 2-yard line. First and goal. Pryor, play action, man wide open, tipped and almost intercepted. A couple of guys had a play on that one in the corner. Neither could bring it in. Donovan Warren hanging over there. Rory Nickel, the tight end, was the intended receiver.
All the skill and all the talent Terrell Pryor has in his elusiveness, this is one thing he's got to improve on. The receiver was wide open, and he could have gotten the ball to him. And Rory Nickel was wide open, couldn't get him the ball. But, you know, you can't act for too much too quickly, I guess.
Right.
Now you run it.
2nd and goal at the 2. And whistle stop play here.
I guess they thought the defensive guy may have intercepted it before he went out of bounds.
Well, I thought he had a great play on it, but I did not think that he caught it until he was already in the green portion over there on the far side. So they'll take a look at it. Let's go back to basically the same play and angle. Try to take another look at it. And again, Donovan Warren, number 6, is the guy there. He's got his hands on it at that point.
He's juggling the ball as he's going out of bounds. Now he's got right there. He's got both hands on the ball. He's got 1 foot down.
Wow.
Now does he have control of it when he hits the ground?
Can't see it.
It was a sensational effort, and I said almost intercepted because I thought he caught it, but I thought he was out of bounds when he finally got the second handle on it. Right there.
Possession.
Yeah, look at his left foot is down, Ness.
That guy right there could make a call. He should be looking right at it.
Here's another look. I think he's got it all the way, guys.
Yes, he does. They're going to overturn this. They're going to give Michigan the ball.
And he does hold on to it when he lands out of bounds.
And you see he's not lobbying for anything. He thinks he made a pretty good play just to break things up, much less if they're going to give him the interception. But that would be a shocker on a play that everybody, I think, in this stadium thought was just dead. And that it was going to be 2nd and goal at the 2. That might not be the case.
And if they overturn this and they start booing, I'm leaving.
Get out while you're still safe.
Yeah. Because they're not, I'll tell you, they're building up already to boo.
Well, they were booing us the last 30 seconds of our last TV timeout because Ohio State couldn't get their offense up there fast enough. Terrell Pryor waiting like everybody else. And here's a call.
The play stands is called. Incomplete pass.
I guess they just didn't feel like they had enough evidence to overturn it.
Paul is safe for another play.
And that was close. That
Yeah, it was.
Either way. Yep.
It was a great play. I'm going to give Donovan Warren a lot of credit. That was a sensational play over there in the corner.
Now they can run it in.
Remember, it's Herron in there. Dan Herron, not Beanie Wells. And he's the tailback in the eye. 2nd and goal at the 2. He gets the call. Herron, 2nd touchdown of the day from 2 yards out. So Ohio State adds to its lead and starting to pull away in this annual rivalry. Everybody thought maybe this would be what would happen. And unless Michigan's got some quick answers, this is what's going to happen, I guess. Ohio State trying to go to 10-2 and 7-1 in the conference. And then they will, I'm sure once they get out of the locker room, hustle to wherever they're going to watch the second game today on ABC. That being Penn State and Michigan State's. And they'll be cheering for the Spartans, the Buckeyes, that is. So Dan Herron filling in for Beanie Wells. Pretty good fill-in, I'd say. 2nd touchdown of the day, follows his blockers from 2 yards out. (35-7) Ohio State's rivalry week. And this rivalry, 105 years in the 105 games. It's actually way more than 105 years. Started in 1897. But the 2008 version is kind of going south on Michigan right now. They fight over the kick return. Sissoko brings it the other way. And again, down at the 22-yard line. The ball might be out at the end. Hold on. It was a big collision again, and now we've got some shoving again by both teams. And there's flags down as well. Bill Lemonnier is pulling bodies apart. And it is Ohio State football.
And gentlemen, I think Beckman's going to go in the game.
Marcus Williams on the bottom of that fumble, but we still don't know what the penalty's about. We're about to find out.
following the play. We have dead ball personal fouls. We have number 40 on Michigan, number 10 on Ohio State. They offset Ohio State's ball, first down.
So all those collisions on kick returns today have produced another turnover. And here comes senior captain Todd Beckman as we go back and show you the end of the play, and the ball is out right there and covered by Marcus Williams.
The big thing is Todd Beckman in the final game at the Horseshoe gets in
with Maurice Wells. And Wells stacked up after a pickup of about a yard. I think a lot of you know the Todd Beckman story. Senior captain out of St. Henry, Ohio, last year. MVP basically of the Big Ten. And then here comes the big hotshot recruit Terrell Pryor when Todd Beckman had troubles against USC. That's about the last time he saw the field for the most part.
Well, he has played some this year, but surprisingly little, more than he should. I thought he should have been in some of the other ball games. And who knows, if he would have played against Penn State, that loss may not be there, even though Pryor threw for 225 yards or thereabouts. Still, I mean, this guy was your voted captain by the players before the season. 3 games into the season, lose to USC. The next game, Pryor gets the start and has started ever since then.
We talked to Jim Tressel about this very occurrence yesterday, and we said, Coach, do we expect to see Todd Beckman? It's his last game. He's a senior. He's a captain. He said only if the game would dictate. We said, what if the game got out of hand? He said, we never planned for that. And then we said, would you put him in just because he's a senior? And he said, for just a token gesture, no, we wouldn't. Well, they've got a big lead. They've got plenty of time in the ball game. They can use him, I guess, the way they want to use him. And here's Todd to the end zone. Touchdown. Good for him.
Boy, he had Heartline wide open, too. This place is going crazy, guys. I'm telling you.
There's another captain, and there's his coach. That's just plain a good feeling, no matter who you're cheering for in this game. Pretorius extra point is good. Todd Beckman. Back where a lot of people think he maybe belonged earlier. That's nice. Terrell Pryor says, that's my guy. 42-7. That's a happy day in Columbus. The Buckeyes rolling now. They've scored 21 unanswered points in the last 5 minutes, 38 seconds. Most recently, Todd Beckman's touchdown pass to Brian Hartline. And now Aaron Petrie has got it teed up. Laurinaitis and Freeman chomping at the bit to get back out there again. And a line drive kick. Fielded at the 10 by Odoms. Odoms out across the 35, and Odoms to the 42. Nifty return by Odoms as we go out to Times Square studio, New York. Here's Matt Weiner. Matt.
Brad Sports Center right now is powered by Vizio. Florida's the only top 6 team aside from Texas Tech and Oklahoma playing today. Tim Tebow has 4 touchdown passes. The Gators have got to work against the fighting Paul Maguires of the Citadel. It's 42-0 there. Meanwhile, North Carolina has turned it over 4 times thanks to a fumbled kickoff. NC State put together back-to-back touchdowns in 14 seconds. That leads by 3 touchdowns.
The fighting Paul Maguires. I like that line. That's good.
Yeah, my boys. We're going to hold them under 100.
Sheridan back in there after being banged up earlier, trying to get it out to Odoms. Incomplete. Reminder, coming up at the conclusion of our game, we'll select a Chevrolet player of the game from each team. Chevy will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund.
So you're going to explain to me about how the ACC champion is going to be selected to play in the championship game?
I'm going to tell you in a little bit. Hold on.
I wish somebody would explain it to us. Oh, boy. Now we're mixing it up a little bit.
I was going to explain it to you guys, but there's only 13 minutes left to go in this game.
And Marcus Freeman comes over to kind of calm down James Laurinaitis.
Well, this is what might happen now the rest of the game. The game is decided right there.
That's a good block.
No, he's
well,
not. He's holding him. That's what Laurinaitis, that's why he's mad at him, because he was holding him. That's the center, David Malk.
I think Laurinaitis might be coming off the corner here. Nope, backs away. Draw play. Nice run by Michael Shaw. Got it out to the 48-yard line. Well, James Laurinaitis, other than that headbutt a little while ago against the Michigan center, well, he's done a lot of things. How about right into Sheridan's chest on that one? And then, hello, Mr. Sheridan again. And then gobbling up the ball carrier, making collisions in the middle, reading every play as he always has since his freshman year.
You never see him look bad.
No.
You never see him look bad. He never misses a play.
Even when he doesn't make a tackle, he's in the picture somewhere. 11:41 remaining in the ball game. The Buckeyes rolling on Michigan. .11:41 remaining. Terrell Pryor there with the hood, standing behind his coach. His day is done. Maurice Wells going the wrong direction on that play as Brandon Graham got in there to make the stop. The reason Terrell Pryor's on the sideline, if you're just joining us, he had a 2-touchdown day today. It was for Ohio State a situation where they could give way to their captain quarterback. And I don't know, you and I are kind of cheering for that. We're not cheering for anybody, but it's good to see Todd Beckman get back in there.
And I got to disagree with the way Jim Tressel handled this whole thing. I like Jim Tressel. He knows his team. He knows his players. But here's a guy that was the MVP of his ball club last year. He was a leader of his team this year. He was the All-Big Ten quarterback last year. He led you to the championship game. And after 3 games, you take him completely out of the mix. And he doesn't get in to not many of the ball games. He got in a couple of them.
A little bit against Northwestern.
But you would think that if he was still in the mix and still active, he would have taken some pressure off of the true freshman Terrell Pryor. Now, Pryor went in and played well, but there are going to be times through a season, the last 7 or 8 games, that your freshman is not going to play well, and you're going to need an active Todd Beckman to come in and throw one of his 30 touchdown passes like he did in his career. Come in like he did when he just came in here, very calmly, I mean, he's a passer. He's not a runner like Pryor, but he's a passer, and he gets things done through the air.
He was in there with all the other seniors yesterday in the football offices with Laurinaitis and Freeman and company. So he goes deep and got his man again at the 35, Robisky. Senior to senior.
You know, the other thing is some of these senior wide receivers like Robisky and some of the other receivers, when they over to Pryor, a few balls came their way. It's going to come down here and just break to the middle.
But you know, Grace, you were talking about Pryor throwing the ball to a pre-designated spot. Watch where Beckman throws this ball. Right on target. It's perfect. It's the way the pattern was supposed to be run and where the ball was supposed to be thrown.
He's the prototype big, tall pocket passer with a good arm, and he's got it down to the 34-yard line again. Maurice Wells. Wells weaves his way to about the 30.
Now,
going to take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. Statistically, up to the minutes. And as you might guess, a big advantage for Ohio State, 400 yards in total offense. That third down's been a killer for Michigan today.
Well, how about Beckman? He's 2 for 2 on third down. One's a touchdown and one's a long gainer.
Yeah. Brandon Sane joins Beckman in the backfield now. On 2nd down and 6, right at the Michigan 30. And Sane gets the handoff, and he'll be dropped for a loss. You can help decide the Pontiac game-changing performance of the day. If you go to ESPN.com, search Pontiac to determine which school will win $5,000 and a chance to win $100,000 at the end of the season. Get involved. Vote at ESPN.com. Jim Cordell, the left guard, gets up limping, and they're going to help him to the sideline. Well, co-champs maybe. Rose Bowl, that's still in doubt. Ohio State's done its job today. The next 8.5 minutes, then they have to await Michigan State's and Penn State's. Our second game on ABC, and they'll be watching that one, because if the Spartans, who they beat, can upset Penn State, then the Scarlet and Gray would be heading to Pasadena.
If not, these guys might be headed to a BCS Bowl.
Yeah, maybe.
Or they'll probably be headed down to Orlando in the Capital One Bowl.
Beckman Wells, oh, did he catch it? He did. Good job, Maurice Wells, keeping his eye on the ball. Had to catch it a couple of times.
Getting back to Beckman, I know he didn't finish the season strong last year. He had a couple of bad games. National championship game wasn't a good one. And then he started off the season, and he didn't play well at USC. However, he is a commodity. He is an asset. He is a value to your team. And I just feel like they should have kept him active and got him more involved throughout the season.
Comes off now as on 4th down, John Thoma's in to punt. Drops it at the 5 and on a one-hopper at about the 2-yard line. Perfect kick and great coverage. Michigan in a big hole and in a big hole when we come back. Aerial coverage brought to you by Goodyear. Get there on triple tread technology. Great shot of the horseshoe, full to the rafters for the 105th meeting of Michigan and Ohio State. It's all Ohio State right now. In Michigan, you can see where they are, right on the 1-yard line. And is it going to be a safety?
No.
No, they're going to give him to the half-yard line.
Nathan Williams with the hit.
Just remember one thing, you know, when you're coming out of the end zone, the whole ball has to get out. Going in, you just have to touch the line.
It's looking worse for Michigan now. As Paul said, the half-yard line, the 1-foot line, you want to call it. We'll look right down the line of scrimmage with you. Shaw covers that ball with both hands and got out to the 3, maybe the 4. Nick Patterson made the stop. And we're down to 6:40 remaining in the ball game. Michigan will be dropping to 3-9. And this will be a 5th straight win for Ohio State over Michigan. It's never happened before. Michigan's troubles, you can think about their 3rd down conversions. They virtually don't have any. They're 1 out of 15, and it's 3rd and 8 right here. And Sheridan's in his own end zone. Sheridan all the way to the Michigan bench with that throw. Rich Rodriguez made the catch, but it's not a first down. And that frustration shows on the face of the first-year head coach of the Wolverines.
Well, next year this ball club is probably going to be a lot further along offensively, just for having gone through this.
Right.
He's already signed a couple of freshman quarterbacks that are going to come in January. His type of quarterback that runs and throws and, you know, just runs a spread option. So
Mesco, another nice punt all the way out to the 49 to Small, who had an 81-yard return earlier today. He gets this one to the 37-yard line.
I will lead like Tom Brady.
Be powerful like Joe Thomas.
I will play with passion like Mick Barber.
And be relentless like Bob Sanders.
I will. I will.
I will.
Maurice Wells on the carry. Might have lost a yard on the play. Mouton, the outside linebacker, made the stop. Started to talk about Todd Beckman earlier, that we talked to all the guys in the football office, and all the seniors were in there. Friday afternoon is the day that they all get together and they go to the hospital to visit all the folks there. And there are 27 players making their final appearance as seniors, as well as student coach Chris Reisland. And now Todd Beckman's getting a big ovation as he's coming off and Joe Bauserman's going in. All the captains and all the seniors can get together and warm up now because their day is done. Second down and 11. Brandon Sane gets the carry. He's wrapped up by Charles Stewart. ABC coming up. Dancing with the Stars. Lance Bass, Brooke Burke, and Warren Sapp face off for the last time. A new champion will be crowned. Entire cast of stars is back for the special 2-hour season finale. The event starts Monday at 8, 7 Central. Continues on Tuesday at 9, 8 Central on ABC. Who are you taking, Grease?
I'm taking the lady.
Brooke?
Yep.
Okay, I can't argue with you. I'd like to argue with you.
Yep.
I mean, I'd like to take Warren.
Warren's done good, but the lady's going to win.
If she doesn't, there's something wrong. But, you know, it's the votes that count, you folks. Vote.
You sound like
Tom Bergeron. Tom, I'm taking your job. You can come up here and do a game next week. I'll come and do Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah.
Maurice Wells down to the 32-yard line. Well, the harsh reality for the Michigan kids is the seniors are going to go away and never beat Ohio State. For the Ohio State Buckeyes, even the fifth-year seniors can brag about never losing, and they'll get another set of gold pants, the little medallions there that they give out when you beat Michigan.
Yep.
It's the 75th anniversary of the first time they gave out the gold pants awards to the seniors if they beat Michigan, and they have now for what will be in 3.5 minutes the 5th straight time.
Why do they give gold pants to Ohio State?
I don't know. It's just what they do.
I know. I mean, it's you know,
they should give scarlet pants.
You'd think it'd be that's a Michigan thing, gold pants.
And the punt rolls inside the 10 again. We check in at Times Square studio. Here's Matt.
All right, Brad, our nominee for the AT&T ESPN All-America Player of the Week is West Virginia's Pat White, who today became the Bowl Subdivision career leader in rushing yards by a quarterback. He's also accounted for 5 touchdowns. And you know what? If that were an AT&T wireless phone, he could text his vote at 51234 to vote for himself.
Yeah, Pat would have looked good here today in almost the same colors. It would have helped Michigan's offense a little bit. Justin Fagan is the guy that's taking the snaps here in the late stages of the 4th quarter from the 9-yard line, and he'll just run it to the left and up maybe to the 11. Don't forget, coming up tonight, Texas Tech, the Red Raiders traveling to Norman. Dangerous spot to play football against Bob Stoops, who's got a tremendous home record, I should say. Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines, part of Rivalry Week presented by Samsung Mobile on ABC tonight at 8 o'clock.
Did you know that Mike Leach was one of those coaches that never played football?
One of a handful.
Yeah. Charlie Weiss.
2 minutes, 55 seconds remaining in the ball game. You know, I got to tell you, Texas Tech, their basketball team, Pat Knight warmed up just for the football team. 167 to 115 in basketball the other night over East Central.
Yeah.
They only had 10 guys in double figures.
They had to start scoring when they were in the locker room.
167 points, Pat. Your old man never put it on anybody that bad, I'll tell you that much. Down to the final couple minutes. It's going to be a long bus ride for the Wolverines back to Ann Arbor. Quarterback draw by Fagan. And out to the 17-yard line. Our Chevrolet players of the game today. You're looking at one of them. James Laurinaitis, 11 tackles, a major impact as always from his linebacker position. And Brandon Miner for Michigan. In recognition of their efforts, Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund.
Who currently holds the nation's longest active regular season win streak at 33 games.
Regular season win streak.
Yes.
At 33 games. I guess you got me there.
Mount Union.
Mount Union.
Division
You
3.
pull that one out every year, don't you? You've been pulling that out for 3 years.
They're only 2.5 hours up the road from here.
Well, Ohio State's James Laurinaitis led the way, one of the senior captains, a two-time captain, and his running mate, Marcus Freeman, another tremendous impact on the ball game today. Brian Rubisky, he goes out in his Ohio State career in brilliant fashion with a touchdown catch. And then Heartline from Todd Beckman. Those are just some of the senior moments that those guys will be reliving in the locker room. And then they'll head and probably watch the ball game together someplace to see what's going to happen between Michigan State and Penn State. Again, this one puts Ohio State in position that if Michigan State, who Ohio State beat earlier this year, if Michigan State beats Penn State in our second game on ABC, then the Buckeyes would be heading to Pasadena.
Mark D'Antonio, the coach up at Michigan State's done a great job. Used to be the coordinator here at Ohio State.
Yep.
I don't think they're quite ready for that top rung of the Big Ten yet. I think he's done a great job. What are they, 9-2 so far?
Yep. I think Brian Hoyer's going to have to be very effective today. They just can't lean on Javon Ringer and think that that's going to be good enough. And Penn State, Joe Pa looking for his 383rd career victory. Another little skirmish going on. Well, that's what it's all about. You know, it started at 11:36 this morning. If you missed the beginning of our ball game, as they were heading to the locker rooms, these teams had to cross paths, and cross paths they did. And that's the way it's been for the last 3.5 hours now. That's why Paul was down there. Paul, you wanted to feel the intensity. I think you got the drift from the cart today, didn't you?
Hey, you know, we talked about all the hitting and all the things were going on. You showed it. Most of them were seniors, but I'm going to tell you what, it was fun down here. You could hear everything, and they were whacking, man.
And they're going to the final gun here, final 40 seconds. So Jim Tressel looks out there and says, nobody's ever done this. He's 7-1 against Michigan, and he's won 5 in a row against the Wolverines, the first time in school history. There'll be better days if you're a Michigan fan for Rich Rodriguez and the Wolverines, who are not going to a bowl game, obviously, and they dropped to 3-9, 2-6 in conference play. So the Buckeyes 10-2 with a win, big time here, 42-7. Let's check in with Stacy.
Coach Tressel, just your initial sentiment right now finishing a game like this.
Well, you know, it was a tough ball game. It might not look like it with the score, but it was a 14-7 game, and it was a battle, and I'm awfully proud of the way our kids played, and you know, it's good to get that win and get part of that Big Ten championship, which is exciting.
Coach, what's your reaction to winning 5 in a row and basically setting history here at Ohio State?
Well, you know, that's what our goal was. We knew that no Ohio State team had ever done that, and we wanted to do that, and we did it against a good team.
Coach, what will you tell your seniors when you head into the locker room?
We're awful proud of them. They're an unselfish group willing to do whatever the team needs, and we're proud of them.
Last question, a bowl game ahead for you guys. What do you do for the next few weeks in preparation?
Eat turkey next week, and after that, I'm not sure, Stace.
Perfect. Thanks, Coach.
Bye-bye.
We asked Coach yesterday, when you have such great players like Laurinaitis and all these seniors, do you kind of get emotional because you know how bad you're going to miss them? He said, well, I still got a bowl game. Then I get emotional and realize how much I'm going to miss them. Let's go back down to Stace. She's with our player of the game.
James, you're our player of the game. Explain to me what you're feeling right now in your last game here as a Buckeye.
I'm feeling very blessed just to be a part of all this. Ohio State, Michigan is the greatest rivalry in sports, and to be a part of this, and you know, my senior year is unbelievable.
What stands out in this rivalry for you? You guys basically set history with 5 in a row against them.
I think it's just the passion. You know, there's so much passion between the schools. You know, there's a lot of respect there. You know, even though there's a heated rivalry, there's a lot of respect. Both have been successful in the past, and they will be in the future.
How do you celebrate with your other seniors tonight?
Oh, I don't know if I can mention that right now. You know, just sit back, reflect on a great career.
Thanks, James.
Thank you.
He told me yesterday, he said, don't forget to remind everybody my high school Wayzata in the state championship in Minnesota. He's thinking about that, and he just won 5 straight over